Hey guys, it's Miko from M1 Sound Lab, and this is how easy it is to get an amazing mix with M1 Drums Paratera. Okay, so this is the mix session that I have going on for the song that I made for this M1 Drums Paratera release. Let's just first have a listen to this mix. Overall, what you need to know is that there is once again no mixing, no post-processing. We don't do that here. That is for other people out there. Just kidding. I'm using the free and Para Riot preset, which means that you can just get M1 Drums free and then add this mini expansion for just $9.99. So these drums just cost $9.99 for you to get this sound, and this is the first default preset, and that's all you're hearing as far as the drums go. Let's have a listen and then go through the mix. So that's it. Overall, there's not a lot of processing going inside M1 Drums either, but for this preset, this free and Para Riot, this is actually so much heavily based on the Paramore Riot drum sound that this one actually does have some things going on in the mixer page. Whichever other presets you choose from here will actually be very, very natural sounding, but for this one, we wanted to nail that sound. So what we've done here is we are using some saturation and heavy compression on the kick just to get more sustain out of the kick, because you know, for that kick sound for Paramore Riot, they have a super long boomy low end, which really would be impossible to get when someone is actually playing the kit, so most likely sample replacements. But getting that kind of a sound out of this kit just required some scoopage, low boosts, a lot of compression, and a lot of saturation. And essentially the kick sound we have is this. And you hear that amazing room, which once again is actually my living room. Don't get it twisted, it's an amazing sounding room and very much meant for this kind of use case scenario. It was by design. Now for the snare, similarly actually boosting the highs quite a bit, cutting the mids around 1500 Hz, and boosting the lows and adding that punch and snap over the top saturation sound. So what you actually get is that snare. And other than that, this is actually quite neutral for the room tracks. Just to get the most out of that room, I actually messed with the EQ quite a bit, so I boosted the lows all the way up, scooped the mids, and even lowered the high end a little bit to get that room to be, well, let's just have a listen to that room track here. So even though it is a room track, I really wanted to get the most low-end energy out of that room as possible. So for that reason, I actually boosted and saturated that room track quite a bit. I didn't actually compress it because I wanted to have the natural sustain of the amazing room that we're using, but a lot of low-end boost there going on for sure. That's basically it. As you can see, tom EQ flat, hi-hat, ride, cymbal EQ is pretty much flat. I boosted the highs, so it seems a little bit on the overheads. That was just a process of try and balance this mix with essentially the Paramore Riot mix, and then using some parallel compression for the master track here, and that's it. That's essentially all I did for these drums. The guitars were using amped Blackout, And Blackout is our latest amp sim plugin, and I actually wanted to on purpose go for that Paramore kind of a guitar sound, and to my taste that is actually quite a thin guitar sound, but the reason it works is because you have such an amazing bass sound on the foundation, so you don't actually need any of the low end from this amp sim. So if you just listen to these guitars, they're quite thin sounding. So actually something like Kill Switch Engage also comes to mind, where when you hear the full track with the bass and everything, it actually sounds amazing, but if you hear those guitars out of context, you'll be surprised at how thin they actually sound. So it's incredibly thin on the guitar side. It's amped Blackout, so it has the reflex cabinet section, and we're blending a greenback and the mic 77, so we're not even using V30s. No V30s on this track. Oh my god, how did we do it? Then, as always with bass, we're using amped bass, and this is the first preset, which I think I've said this before. This is actually very heavily influenced by the Paramore Riot's bass sound, so very fitting. I think I boosted the gain just a tiny bit, and that's all. Other than that, I'm actually using a maximizer here just to cut off the dynamics that I didn't want in the bass sound. So just doing like 2 or 3 dB of gain reduction there, and that's it. It's very simple. No mixing besides all that. So that is all the mixing there is to it. On the drums, you saw what I did in the mixer page, and that is going raw directly into the new Unreleased plugin, which is ML Wave Breaker. And I'm actually not doing anything with this. I'm just clipping it 1 dB and then boosting 1 dB. So we're actually doing pretty much nothing, just clipping slightly. But hey, you got to see this plugin once more. I think I'm almost doing nothing with this plugin actually. So nothing on the EQ, no saturation, no compression, no nothing. Just 1 dB of clipping, and that is all just to get the peaks even on top. And the clipping here is very super high quality. I'm gonna be using the Drums Paratera preset that comes with Drums Paratera, and go through the different tunings with Drums Paratera Snare. You only have this one kick, which sounds amazing, so you don't really have to worry about it. Really, the whole magic about Drums is that you can blend, mix and match all the kit pieces from all the different kits and make your own amazing sounding drum sound, and not just use our presets, which is what I'm doing here. Let's quickly go through all the different snare tunings that come with Drums Paratera. So this is the lowest tuning. So as you can tell, there's a lot of versatility that you can get out of even just Drums Paratera. Depending on the kind of song you're making, you want to go for a different energy out of the snare, and just changing that snare completely changes the entire vibe of the kit. So it's very important, in my opinion, to do different tunings for all these snares that we have. So obviously, if you pick something else, like for example the Ludwig snares that we did, so if you take a Black Beauty, you actually have 8 different tunings, and you have a different head on that same snare and 8 different tunings, and you know, there's a lot of versatility you get out of these snares. Not just one sound, you get so much more out of it with this kind of a setup. Thank you for watching the video. I've been Miko from Emo Sound Lab, and like I said, all the drums you heard here was Emo Drums Free plus Emo Drums Paratera, which is our mini expansion pack for just 10 bucks. So for just spending 10 bucks, you can get this drum sound, and it's super realistic. Go get it now. I've been Miko. Bye bye.